this time a different angle again, and welcome to another project Dad's making. And I'm baking again because we're out of cake. So I have loads of oranges, so I thought I'd make a lovely orange cake. So the oven is preheating and I'm going to use a lovely cake tin. So what do we need? We need something for a batter, and then we'll make an orange syrup and a cream cheese glaze. So, okay, so then we need flour, 1 1/3 cups, that's roughly 160 grams. Just gonna go by the recipe. 1 cup and 1/3. That's a bit much. Okay. So we have our flour in, like I said, 1 1/3 cups. Thanks again for tuning in, everyone, and watching me bake, joining me for a bake session, whatever you want to call it. So first we mix our flour, cornstarch, baking powder, baking soda, and salt. So 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. Where did I put my cornstarch? There. So how many did I say? 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. 1, 2, and 3. Great. Then we need baking powder. 1 1/2 spoons. So 1 1/2 spoons of baking powder. So then a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Bam. And a pinch of salt, like I said, 1/4 teaspoon, but yeah, that should be enough. Great. Now let's mix this up. These are our dry ingredients now. That's great. I need a second bowl though. So dry ingredients mixed. Second bowl. So then we need to beat our butter until it's creamy. I'm going to do that by hand. I just, for some reason, enjoy it. So 100 grams roughly of butter. So that's roughly 100 grams of butter. So maybe a little more, just to be on the safe side. So great, let's put that there, and our whisk. Like you can use a mixer with a paddle to get it nice and creamy, or you just kind of use a whisk, and beat it creamy. If your butter is room temperature, you won't have a big issue doing this, and then once it's kind of spread all around, you just use your spatula and get it back down, so you can continue to whisk it, until it's creamy. As you can see, it is creamy. Butter. Let me just get it all out of the whisk. So put that whisk here and just make sure that we don't lose too much. I mean, you're gonna lose a little bit anyway, but it's nice and creamy and soft, which is great. So then we add our sugar. into the butter. How much sugar did I see? 175 grams. So roughly a cup of sugar goes in here. So that's in. What else do we need? Oh yeah, our zests. You need like 1.5 teaspoons of orange zest and like half a teaspoon of lemon zest. Let's just give these babies another wash. Like, you don't need to teaspoon it, you know, so just use a zester, you know, thing that looks like this, and just get some of that lovely zest off, as you can see here, you know, and we'll use those oranges then for our sorry, our syrup. So if you don't have a lemon, that's fine, don't worry about it, right? If you do have a lemon, it gives a nice additional taste. I'll actually use a second orange because, you know, I wanted to taste, you know, have a really strong taste of orange and not just like, oh, I detect a hint in the back of my throat of orange. I want it to be, you know, proper orangey taste. So I'm gonna use a second orange here, and then we'll get on to our lemon. So are you guys watching anything recently? I have really gotten into The Good Place with Ted Danson from Cheers. If you're a bit older like me, then you'll know him from Cheers as Mark Keep. Here he plays a demon, yeah, trying to get people to torture each other, but in a comedic way, and then of course has a change of heart and wants to help them and all of that lovely goodness. And yeah, it's a funny story about, you know, moral philosophy and ethics and all that stuff in a comedic setting. And so, as you can see, lemon is zested. So, so now you need to beat this for a good bit, you know, to incorporate all the elements together. If you have a mixer with the paddles, of course, it'll go much faster. You know, if you don't, like me, like I'd have a normal one, you know, without the paddles. I'll just do it by hand, you know, and get everything incorporated into each other. You'll see the color lighten up a bit, you know, and then you just continue to beat this together until everything is nice and mixed, you know. And I actually don't mind using elbow grease to get these things done. So let's use my spatula again to get all the lovely mixture of butter and sugar and zests and all of that out. So I'll just put it down and make sure that we don't lose anything. So you have a mixture, roughly looks like this. Great. So great. So then we'll use our spoon to get the rest off, or get more off of our spatula. Don't forget afterwards, you need to clean, you know. So now we use our eggs. You should incorporate it one at a time. So let's crack this baby in here and incorporate it together. We'll use 2 medium to large eggs. So that one's in. Then let's get the second one in. If you hold your bowl sideways, you can beat it a bit better, I find, and get some air in. So what else do we need to put in? Vanilla, which I forgot, but that's fine. And next we need sour cream. So how much sour cream do I need? Eggs, vanilla, so 1/4 cup of sour cream. Let's just dry my hands. I actually went to the shop to get all of my baking stuff, and once again forgot to buy the vanilla. So 1/4 cup of vanilla, or of sour cream. That's 57 grams at room temperature. Let's get that 1/4 of the sour cream in there. So let's get that all in there. That's great. So, sour cream, yeah, good, we are here, great. Now let's get mixing, mixer, as they say in, is it Daniel Tiger? Can't remember, but I think it is Daniel Tiger. Mixer. Until everything is well incorporated, which it is now. Great. So now we need to combine our dry and our wet. So let's get this show on the road here. So, like if you're using a machine, you're gonna, you know, slowly add the flour in and all that stuff, you know, and just let the machine do the work for you. Mostly we overuse the machines, you know, so, you know, if you're using your elbow grease, it can be quite fun too. So what do I need next? Freshly squeezed OJ. So let's get my juicer. Let's get my juicer out. So if you're doing this with kids, don't cut stuff in your hands, because they will try to do the same and then cut themselves. So never do these things when kids are present. My son is currently not present, so I was able to cut the orange in my hand. So, and if you dry those pips that will come out of the orange, you can actually plant yourself some oranges and have them grow. I know it's a bit weird in Ireland to grow oranges, but you know what? You can try. Like my mom has a few plants now that are, you know, orange plants. that we got exactly that way. So let me just quickly get that juice off my iPad, huh? So, okay. So how much did we say that we needed? Half a cup, 118 mils, looks about right, of freshly squeezed orange juice. So then we'll add our orange juice to our mixture and just start beating. Like I said, if you have a mixer or a cake machine or whatever you call them, then you can slowly incorporate these things, you know, make sure that they're, you know, that the machine does all the work for you, you know. Otherwise, if you don't, and like not all of us can afford or have the space for a machine like that, you just use your elbow grease, you know. So, great. Now, whew. So, now we have our lovely cake batter. Just make sure that, yeah, see, the zest can sometimes be a bit tricky to get out of these things, but you know, you will get there and you'll get them out, because you don't want to lose any of this, of the flavor in here. Let me just put this aside. So now let's just give it one more good mix with our spatula, and then we'll take our lovely form and fill it. Fill it up, fill it up, fill it up. So make sure to get the dough fairly evenly spread. You know, you don't want, like with any bake, you don't want to have the batter be done on one end and runny on the other end, you know. Plus, you know, you show you care if you do it, you know, slowly and surely and all of that stuff. And if you make a bit of a mess, like I generally do, then that's fine, because you'll be the one cleaning it up afterwards, you know. So if you're not the cleaning up kind, then don't make a mess, because that's unfair to the other people in the household, you know, who will then have to clean up after you. And, you know, nobody wants that. Unless you know, have someone who loves cleaning up. Then of course, make sure to talk it through. So, let me just get my bowl over here. So now let's just give it a good turn here. So, now, so our cake batter is done. Once the cake is finished and cooling, I'm gonna make a nice orange syrup. But I'll record that separately again, and also how to make the cream cheese topping. So this is it for now. You'll see the completed video, as always, on YouTube and my other social media channels. So thank you for watching. See you again soon with the continuation. Hi everyone. So welcome to part 2. Just place you roughly here. Of our orange cake recipe. Next, we will create a syrup. So here is my orange juice that I will put onto a pan or into a pan. And then wait a moment for it to start heating up. And I'll also add 1.5 tablespoons of granulated sugar. So let's just turn that down to a low simmer. So one, yeah. So, and now on a low heat, we will just let the sugar dissolve. So that'll take a moment. And now let's check on our cake, huh? What do you think? Okay, I've already checked the cake and it is done. So, un momento. So, let me get the cake out. So, here we have our lovely, lovely cake. So what we will do now is put down something so we don't damage our kitchen counter. And then, so that the syrup can properly penetrate it, we'll put in some, we'll poke it basically. Please be aware that like you could use, something more pointy, some skewers or so, because knives is, could look nicer, but whatever. So now I have a good few openings there. Sugar is not fully dissolved yet, so, but it'll take a moment. And if you're wondering what kind of shirt I'm wearing, it's Angels and Airwaves, favorite band. Yeah, I also got something on the back here. So let's see that our sugar dissolves nicely. Don't do it on a high heat because you could evaporate the juice too far or too much and burn your sugar. So just gently, ever so slightly and gently heat it up till it's incorporated. So it's incorporated now. Now I'll raise the heat a little bit to medium-high to get it to simmer for a moment. And again, don't do it too quickly because you could once again burn the sugar that's in here. So now let's just make sure that this comes up to a boil. If you're, if you don't want to wait, of course you can, raise it up, but keep an eye on it, right? Keep stirring the whole time. Keep stirring. So it has simmered now, and it'll make your cake nice and moist, right? So now we have a lovely little, I don't know if I can actually show you guys, huh? Oh, no, not without spilling, but trust me, we have a nice little syrup here that we will now drizzle over our cake to keep it nice and moist. So we're going to use somewhere between half and a third of it and leave that sink in. I'm going to give it another 10 minutes for the cake to cool down. Then I'll flip it over onto a cake platter and spread the rest of the syrup. And then I'll see you again when we're making our cream cheese glaze, which needs to happen once the cake is cool, actually cool, you know. So see you soon. Hey everyone, welcome back to our part. Our cake is now out of the oven and on a plate. And all the syrup has been poured over. So all that we need to do now is make our glaze. It's going to be yum. So we need 3/4 of a cup of powdered sugar or icing sugar. So let's get the ball rolling there. So kind of cool that I managed to finish this whole recipe in the break between two Bundesliga matches. So yeah, that's enough. So we have that. A fork to stir, and then we need 2 tablespoons, not teaspoons, tablespoons of soft cheese. So 2 tablespoons, 1 and 2. So roughly 28 grams it says. So I'll just make sure that there is all of it in there. So close up our cream cheese and wash our hands. So very good. And now what we do is try to incorporate the cheese and the powdered sugar and into a mass. And try not to lose too much. Like, I probably should have just used a bigger bowl, right? Which is fair enough to say. But as I said in my last video, if you do bother to properly, if you do bother to properly disinfect your work area, you can just take it off your work area and put it into your bowl. If you don't want to, like, that's up to you. That's absolutely fine. So now let's give this a good whisk so that we don't have any lumps or clumps. So you can add some double cream if you want to. I'm just going to use a little dash of milk just to get the consistency a bit more pourable, but that's it, you know. So let's get this in there. Yeah, as you can see here, now we have a nice pourable consistency here. Haha, perfect. Look at that. Look at that. So that's great. Now let's get rid of our fork, and we'll require a spoon. So, okay. And put the milk and the cheese back into the fridge. So that they don't stay out of the fridge for too long. Now let me think how I can show you guys when I'm pouring it over the cake. And that's even a bit big. Let's see. Can I use my cup? Yeah, let's get this a little bit here. So, as you can, that's water, by the way, not alcohol. So as you can see now, I have my lovely cake here. And I am going to start to, you know, spread the love here all over our cake, you know, and have it, you know, just kind of, yeah, drop down the sides, inside and outside. Just kind of let it run down. Like you could, there's probably people that make it look nicer, right? For looks very clumsy, but you know what? That's okay. You know, sometimes these things are nice, even a bit nicer if they are clumsy. At least that's what I'm telling myself. And you know, you can always have your kids help you with it. But that's basically it. All that is left now is to lick the bowl. No. Well, yeah, you can lick the bowl if you want to, but we will take another orange and just give it a quick wash. And there, my zester. Put away here, and then you just zest a bit of orange over it. I'm gonna use that orange later for a tall glass of orange juice, I'd say. So, doesn't that look nice, huh? Come on. Some orange strands all around the cake, all around our lovely cake, just so that we're really driving that flavor home. So, and that's it now. This time it really is it, right? Let me just bring that baby over to you. So as you can see here, the icing is coming down nicely, and we have a bit of orange everywhere. And yeah, that's basically it. So that's Project Dad's. That's making orange cake in the bag. Sorry for burping there. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed this video and maybe some of my other videos, you know, head on over to YouTube, hit like, subscribe, the little bell, and what else? On Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. And of course on Patreon as well, if you want to support me, you know, financially to keep this going and maybe get some more and more professional recording equipment. Be great. Everything that I don't use, I'll put on a nice savings account for my boy, so that, you know, he has something from all of this too in the future, you know, college or whatever, driver's license or something. I don't know if they'll be even around when he gets old enough, but yeah. So thank you for watching as always. Steve is out.